Hello, everybody. Welcome to Business 1750 Personal Finance. My name is Dr. Eugenia Johnson. Some of you I already know. Some of you I'm making new friends, so welcome to class. The videos for this class is going to be a mixture of, like this one I'm recording in April 2026 because some changes have been made to the way we access our textbook. Some of the videos were actually uploaded last year, but they were still relevant, so I'm not going to re-record everything. But as I go through the class, I may need to re-record some things, and we'll just kind of play it loosey-goosey. So in some cases, you're going to see me with a little shorter hair and a little bit lighter hair. In other cases, my hair will be a little bit longer and a little bit darker, but it's just me being me. But anyway, welcome. I wanted to do a little course overview. The textbook for this class is Personal Finance, Building Your Future, 2nd edition by Robert and Christy Walker. And I forgot to get it off my bookshelf to show to you. Hold on just one second. Of course, I have a paperback edition of it, but this is kind of like what the cover should look like. It's got a kite against the beach. This is a little bit older version, but I find that this book, it's still very valid for what we want to do in this class, because this class is a very general class for people to talk about how to deal with their money in their personal lives. We are going to need access to the textbook through, if you signed in through the Monarch Access program, you should have access to the textbook immediately. And the McGraw-Hill Connect, which is absolutely imperative that you have to take quizzes, tests, and turn in some homework problems and stuff like that. If you have opted out of Monarch Access program, you would need to go to the McGraw-Hill website and either purchase or rent the textbook along with Connect Access as soon as possible, because we're going to need this book this week. Speaking of needing things immediately, this class is only 8 weeks. It goes fast. We have a lot to cover. It looks like a lot, but it's a lot of very common sense kind of stuff that we're going to be covering. So let's look at some class learning objectives, and this is from the course overview in the Welcome Start Here module. There are 10 class objectives that we want to make sure that you at least touch on during the next 8 weeks. Understand and describe basic economic concepts and conditions as they relate to the management of personal finances. Define personal goals and values that impact consumer decisions. Develop a personal budget, a purchasing plan for acquiring tools, goods and services, and an investment plan. Explore options for preparing for retirement. Identify the role players in a market economy with an emphasis on the consumer. Understand the impact of advertising and marketing on consumer decisions. Analyze the factors to be considered in rational consumer decision making. Describe laws and regulations to protect consumers. Describe and contrast options for saving, investment, and risk management, and develop a plan for prudent management of credit and debt. We're going to go over handling your money from now until the time you retire, through purchasing homes or renting homes, purchasing cars. Wherever you are in your life, maybe you've already experienced some of this, and maybe this is all brand new to you. But personal finance is something that a lot of people, when they finish with this with this course, they say, I really wish I had taken this a long time ago, because it's a very common sense situation. So I'm going to just kind of go through the modules. The Welcome Begin here, it looks huge because I've kind of broken everything out. There's the course overview that we just went through. There's the welcome video where this video is going to live. There's a section called Please Read Accessing Your Textbook, which will show you how to get to your textbook. I'm pointing to my computer screen like you can see that. So sorry. Over on Canvas on the left-hand side of the screen, there is a McGraw-Hill Connect link, and that is how you go through. You should have received an email with maybe some special instructions in it. I know the instructions I got were to go and set up the course in McGraw-Hill, but I did have on the accessing your textbook part of the module, I do have some information about the Monarch Access FAQs, and a little illustration of showing you what the screen looks like, and with a red circle around the McGraw-Hill Connect link. So there is that. If you have any problems with it, please let me know immediately, so that we can get them worked out as soon as possible. The attendance policy for this course, again, I can't stress it enough. We don't have time to play. We have every week we have some discussion board. In the first week, we're going to have two. One is very easy. It's introduce yourself and tell us one interesting thing about yourself, and that can be anything, because we're all interesting people. And then and then reply to about three of your classmates saying, hey, welcome to class, just something friendly just to get to know each other. And then there's a real discussion board that has to do with the book. Then every week after that, there'll be one discussion board that is based on content for the week. We are going to cover at least 2 chapters a week. There's one week that we will cover 3 chapters in 1 week. But I've kind of placed it to where it was 2 shorter chapters put together, so that we're not having to kill ourselves so badly. The thing I want to really impress on you, though, is time management. We're going so fast, I don't have time to accept things late. Get yourself in a rhythm. For the weekly discussion board, the initial post is due by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. and the 2 replies are due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. In week 8 is a short week, and everything is due by Thursday that week, because our class actually ends on Thursday. So week 8, we're going to have to move super fast. But the way that the discussion boards are set up, if you post late and you don't post until you don't even start posting until Sunday, it still allows you to post. But understand that I do take a point off for your initial post for every day that you don't post on time by Wednesday. So there's a deduction for tardiness there. And once something disappears from Canvas and it is closed, it is gone. I don't have time to open it back up because we're moving on to the next 2 chapters. And if you start getting behind, it will be almost impossible to catch up. So please, please, please stay with me and stay on task with this. I move the discussion boards. I move the discussion boards 1 week at a time, because that is literally how I am taking attendance in the class. You have to check in every week to at least do the discussion boards. There are other things that you could work ahead on if you decide to work ahead on it, and that's fine. But discussion boards, you have to do them one at a time. The tests, you have to do them only when they're open, and the final exam, of course, only when it's open. So just be aware that there are time constraints built into the course. It's not just totally asynchronous where you can just go in 1 week and do the whole thing and be done with it. So just be careful with that. That's the attendance policy. Check in every week and do a little bit every week. That's the only way to really be successful in this course. Which chapters are on each test? Well, there's a chapter quiz. There's 17 chapters in the book. There's 17 quizzes. Each test is open only for the time indicated on the course syllabus. They're only available in McGraw-Hill Connect. You are given 3 attempts on each test. There are 50 questions on each test. Each question is worth 2 points, so there's 100 questions. There are 100 points on each test. There are 100. Okay, I'm messing myself up. There are 50 questions on the test worth 2 points each. There's 100 questions on the final exam worth 1 point each. The best score is the one that is recorded for grading purpose. So there is no penalty in going ahead and trying all 3 attempts. If you do the test and you say you score a 92 on it, and then you take it again and you only score an 85, don't worry about the 85, the 92 will prevail. So go ahead and take it all 3 times, and whatever your best score is the one that will be taken. The final exam works exactly like the other test. It's just more questions and there's more time to take it. There's the distinct possibility that questions from a chapter quiz will also appear on a test because it's a centralized question pool. And to follow that through, some of the questions from the test will probably show up on the final exam. So, honestly, it's a random draw. So the more times you take the test, the more questions you see, and the more likely it is you will see something on a quiz that you will see on the test, and the more likely that something you'll see on the test, you'll see on the final exam. So if that makes sense to you. The chapter breakdown for test number 1 would be chapters 1 through 4. Test number 2 is chapters 5 through 8. Test number 3 is chapters 9 through 13. And test number 4 is chapters 14 through 17. And the final exam is all the chapters. It's comprehensive. Okay? I'm trying to navigate the Canvas as we're going through. So what about the chapter quizzes? Like I said, there's a chapter quiz with each one of the chapters. I'm double checking chapter 17. It might be so short that there's only 16 chapter quizzes. I believe there's only 16 chapter quizzes. Hold on just one second. I want to, before I make a mistake, because chapter 17 is horrendously short. So let me take a look right here. Assignments. I'm looking at my side of McGraw-Hill Connect. 14, 15, 16. No, there is a chapter 17 quiz. I don't know why is there. Okay. Anyway, there are 17 quizzes, one for each chapter. And they correspond with the different weeks. There's a document that is going to be available to you called a course roadmap. It's a spreadsheet. I would suggest that you follow that because it gives a very distinct breakdown of when the due dates of everything is going to happen. Also, if you look at in Canvas, if you click on course syllabus, the actual physical, there's a link to the syllabus, there's a link to the roadmap, there's some academic support services links, and then there's a course summary. And every due date is outlined with what is due that day. Now, it looks a little bit intimidating because there's so much to do in so few time, but don't worry about it. Also, down at the bottom, there's a grade called roll call attendance. Roll call attendance is your discussion grade. So that's the attendance grade. Don't worry about that. The roll call attendance does not count towards your actual grade at all. It's just an administrative thing that's in there. So just thought I'd let you know. Every week, every module, and I've put the dates on the top, like week 1, chapter 1, Money Matters, and chapter 2, Planning and Budgeting, and it is from April 27th through May 3rd. I have a niece who is going to school online, and she said she found it very helpful when her professors actually put the date of the week on there, so I'm trying to follow that, so hopefully you find that helpful as well. So every week has the days of the dates on it, and the chapters that we're covering. The required course resources for every week is usually the PowerPoints that go along with that chapter. It doesn't replace reading the chapter, but sometimes when you read the chapter and go ahead and read along with the PowerPoints along with it, it's helpful. I would not advise that you only go with the PowerPoints because there's stuff in the chapter that maybe is not covered in depth on the PowerPoints. The PowerPoints are mainly talking points. The supplemental resources, however, for every week, and I just finished, just before I recorded this video, updating and checking every one of them. Those are links to either videos or websites or maybe podcasts, depending upon what I found, that go along with the subject matter for the week, but it's outside of the textbook. It's very current. It's all 2026 or some 2025, but they are still current enough that it's new resources. You don't have to read them if you don't want to, but if it's a topic that you're interested in learning some more about and you want to look over them, they should all be working. They're working, as of the recording of this video, and so just you use those at your own discretion. But they're there for you. There's a little thing about me and where I came from. I am from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I went to school here in town at Douglas Byrd High School. I went to my undergraduate school was it was